بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء المرسلين محمد وأهل بيت الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين واللعنة على أعدائهم من الآن إلى يوم الدين أما بعد فقد قال الله سبحانه وتعالى في كتابه المجيد والفرقان الحميد بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ربي زدني علما صدق الله العلي العظيم. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Inshallah, hope everyone is well. And can everyone hear me? I'm not too sure.
Yes. Assalamu alaikum.
Alhamdulillah. Right, so it's fine, even though the number is few today. So it's perfectly fine because, as I said, that this lesson will be taught over 2 or 3 sessions. So having something a small class allows me to work with you so that you can support the other students as well. Right. Has anyone done verbs or the past tense verb before or not? Anyone? Sister Shalina? Sayyid Zafar?
A little bit, but it's been a long time.
Right, okay, that's fine. Right, so in the Arabic language, like last week, or the last lesson we had, we spoke about the possessive pronouns, that kitabuhu, his book, kitabuha, her book, kitabuka, your book, kitabuki, your book for a female, kitabi, my book, and kitabuna, our book. So that was the possessive pronouns, which are also 14, but I've only taught a few just to get yourself familiar that you have pronouns, attached pronouns for a nouns, and then you have the verbs itself, and the verbs are also 14. 14 now, there are pronouns, and there are 14 verbs as well. And in any language as well, you have 3 individuals in a conversation. So you have a speaker, you have a listener, and you have the third person who is the passive person. And according to that itself, there are 6 verbs for the third person, 6 for the second person, and 2 for the speaker. And normally in English language, we don't have, we have either he, she, you, we have he, she, you, and I and we. That's it. But in the Arabic language, we don't. So I'll show you over on the screen itself to make it more easier for yourself. So in the Arabic language, what we have 14 verbs, and then you have he wrote, they too wrote, meaning, so we have 3 for boys, masculine, and 3 for feminine, for the third person. So we have he wrote, they both males wrote, they all males wrote. Then we say she wrote, then they 2 males wrote, so they 2 females wrote, and they all females wrote. Then you have 6 again, 3 for the masculine, 3 for the female. So katabta, you wrote, sorry, you wrote, you 2 males wrote, you all males wrote. You 1 female wrote, you 2 females wrote, you all females wrote. And then we have I wrote, and the dual and the plural is 1. It's we wrote. So there's no we wrote 2, we wrote for more than 2. So the dual and the plural is exactly the same. Now, let's bring, who should I bring the mic? Brother Zafar Naqvi. Is your mic working, Brother Zafar? Okay, it's not working. Can I have Brother Askari on the mic? I think it's Sister Askari.
Yes. Assalamu alaikum.
Now, sister, now the verb itself, each verb requires, every verb requires a doer of an action. Is that clear?
Yeah.
So the verb kataba, it is a 3-letter verb, and it represents he, kataba.
Yeah.
So you remember in lesson number 4, we said huwa, what was it? Aina Khalidun, huwa fil hammami. Do you remember?
Yes. Yeah.
So the huwa is the actual detached pronoun which represents he, huwa. But kataba is one of the unique verbs, the 3-letter verb. So minimum letters in the Arabic language for a verb are 3. So kataba is a 3-letter verb. You cannot have a 2-letter verb or a 1-letter verb itself. Minimum letter is 3. In kataba, there is a hidden pronoun which represents he, which is huwa. So kataba is, there's no physical attachment of any harakat or letters which represents he, but it is hidden in kataba. So this is a unique verb where there's no attached pronouns with it to represent he, but it's hidden. Kataba means he wrote. Then if you want to say they 2 males wrote, you will see there's a difference between kataba to kataba. So we have added an additional alif. I've added an additional alif. Now this alif which has been added, it represents dual. Dual meaning 2 people.
Yeah.
Is that clear?
Yes.
Yes. So kataba means they 2. And then when we go to, if you want to say they all boys wrote, what we need to do, the original verb was kataba. All of the 3 letters have a fatha. Kataba.
Yeah.
So when we want to make a plural, we add alif and waw.
Okay.
Add alif and waw, or waw and alif. And because there's a waw, and it's a vowel, it's a vowel, the suitable harakat for the word before it, it's a dhamma. Dhamma meaning a pesh. So we change it to a dhamma, and it becomes katabu. Is that clear?
Yeah.
So it's kataba, he wrote. Kataba, they 2 males wrote. Katabu, they all wrote. Then we have she wrote. So when you want to say she wrote, you add a flat ta. You add a flat ta which has a sukoon. A sukoon means a jazm. And that ta, this ta is the ta to indicate that this verb is a female verb, which represents she wrote. Katabat. Repeat, please.
Katabat.
Katabat. And then when you want to say they 2 females wrote, the difference between kataba and katabata is that you have an additional ta which represents female, and the alif here represents dual. So you read it kataba.
Katabata.
Excellent. And then when you want to go to plural, they all females wrote, you add a noon with a fatha. You add a noon with a fatha, but before the noon with a fatha, that last letter of the 3-letter verb, kataba, a sukoon is given to the ba, and it becomes silent. So it becomes katab.
No. Katabna.
Excellent. Now I want you to read from here and translate the meaning from kataba. I'll read it first, and then you can do it. Kataba, he wrote. Katabata, they both wrote. Katabu, they all wrote. Katabat, she wrote. Katabata, they both females wrote. Katabna, they all wrote. Go ahead.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Kataba, he wrote. Kataba, they 2 females wrote. Katabu, they all wrote. No, sorry, it's not. It is not female. Sorry, 2 males wrote, and katabu, they all males wrote. Katabat, she wrote. Katabata, they 2 females wrote. Katabna, they all females wrote.
Is that clear for you?
Yes, thank you.
Brilliant. Can I have Sister Shalina next to the mic?
Alaikum.
Alaikum assalam. Bismillah, sister.
The same ones?
Yes, please.
Okay. So kataba, he wrote. Kataba, they wrote, dual masculine. Katabu, they all wrote masculine. Katabat, she wrote. Katabata, they wrote dual feminine. Katabna, they all wrote feminine.
Excellent. Can I have Sister Nuzza Raza?
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Kataba, he wrote. Kataba, they two male wrote. Katabu, they all male wrote. Katabat, she wrote. Katabata, they both female wrote. Katabna, they all female wrote.
Excellent. Brother Zafar Nakwi, is your mic working? No, his mic's not connected. Okay, that's fine. Now, the next 6 itself, remember this point. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. From form number 7. So each of these verbs are called forms. In Arabic, we call it sigha. In English, we call it forms. So for the form number 6, from the 3-letter verb, the ba becomes with a sukoon. So from this form onwards till the end, the ba remains with a sukoon. And you add the attached pronouns with it itself. And they will give and convey the different meanings itself. So we attach ta, tuma, tum. So ta means you, tuma means you two boys, tum you all boys. Then t, so ta is for you, for boy, and for a female you put a kasra. Katabti and tuma. So this one here, katabtuma for you two boys and katabtuma you two females is exactly the same. You can only tell from the context who you're referring to. So katabtum is you all boys and katabtunna is you all females. Let me start reading them now. Katabta, you wrote. Katabtuma, you two boys wrote. Katabtum, you all boys wrote. Katabti, you one female wrote. Katabtuma, you two females wrote. Katabtunna, you all females wrote. I'll bring this time around Sister Nuzhat first.
Okay. Katabta, you male wrote. Katabtumma, you two male wrote. Katabtum, you all male wrote. Katabti, you female wrote. Katabtumma, you two female wrote. Katabtunna, you all female wrote. Katabtu, I wrote. Katabna, we two wrote. Katabna, we all wrote.
Excellent. Is that clear?
Yes.
Sister Shalina, can you come on the mic? Katabta.
Okay. Katabta, you wrote, masculine. Katabtuma, you two wrote, masculine. Katabtum, you all wrote, masculine. Katabti, you wrote, feminine. Katabtuma, you two wrote, feminine. Katabtunna, you all wrote, feminine.
Is that clear?
Yeah.
And then the last two, to means I, adding na means we. So katabtu and katabna are the last two.
Did you want me to do this?
Yes, please, go ahead.
Katabtu, I wrote. Katabna, we wrote.
Excellent. Sister Askari, can you do from katabta? Sister Askari, are you there?
Yeah, I'm there. I'm here, and my mic was muted. Sorry about that. Yes. Katabta, you male wrote, one. Katabtuma, you two males wrote. Katabtum, you all male wrote. That is plural. Katabti, you wrote, female. Katabtuma, you both wrote, females. Katabtunna, you all wrote, females. Katabtu, I wrote. Katabna, we two wrote. Katabna, we all wrote. And so, Ustad, these two are same, right?
Exactly, that's right. The dual and the plural, you could say katabna once, that's perfectly fine.
Okay.
Okay, right. Is that clear for everyone now?
Yes.
Right, okay. So I just wanted to go through this so that it's easier for everyone. So I'm going to only take about 10 minutes more of the class so that you start preparing and learning this. So let me just change the slide. Just give me 2 seconds and change the slide and give you a different something else. I'll share this in the group so that you have the details as well. Right. Can you see this same chart now, but in a different format? Yes?
Yes.
Right, Sister Shalina.
Yep.
Now, you're probably familiar with huwa, which means he. Hiya means she. Anta means you. Anti means you, one female. Ana means I. Nahnu means we. So these are the actual detached pronouns. Huwa.
Okay.
So these are detached pronouns, and they are being substituted by this alif here, and as the wow alif before, as I mentioned. And you remember what I mentioned earlier? The ta here, the silent ta, represents hiya. And
Okay.
alif here represents Jul. Hunna, the all female, is being represented by the noon with the alif. And anta is represented by ta. Antuma is being represented by tuma. And tum is representing antum, meaning you all. Anti is represented by T. You two females is represented by katab tuma, the tuma at the end. Antunna is represented by tunna. Ana is represented by tu. Nahnu is represented by na. Is that clear for you, sister?
Yes.
100%?
So basically, it's just the attached pronouns is the ones that we're doing today.
Exactly.
Okay.
Attached pronouns with the actual verb itself.
Okay.
For us to understand, because all of the actual verb formation and structure is the same base itself. So this is the past tense, this is the present tense. So even in the present tense, there are 14 forms, but slight changes there itself. So once you know the past tense, then inshallah, and when we start book 2, I will teach you the actual present tense. I'm not going to teach you yet, but as soon as we start book 2, then I'll teach you the present tense. So at the moment, I'm concentrating on the past tense, even though there are only a few handful of verbs in the actual book itself, but I prefer to teach them now so that once we start book 2 becomes a bit more familiar to yourselves. So go ahead, kataba, translate.
Okay. So kataba, he wrote. Kataba, they too wrote, masculine. Katabu, they all wrote, masculine. Katabat, she wrote. Katabata, they too wrote, feminine. Katabna, they all wrote, feminine. Katabta, you wrote, masculine. Katabtuma, you too wrote, masculine. And katabtum, you all wrote, masculine. Katabati, you wrote feminine. Katabtuma, you wrote feminine. You too wrote feminine. And katabtunna, you all wrote feminine. And then katabtu, I wrote. And katabna, we wrote.
Excellent. Can I have next on the mic, Sister Nuzhat?
Yes.
Sister Nuzhat, the verb dharaba, the verb this is a new verb now. I'm just doing the new verb. The reason why, because I want everyone to be able to be familiar and be able to thoroughly know them very well, and is able to conjugate them fluently, regardless of any verb they do. So the verb dharaba means he hit. So can you conjugate the 14 forms with the translation dharaba?
Zaraba means
He hit.
he hits. Okay. Zaraba, he hits. Zaraba, he two male hit.
They two males hit.
Two males hit. Zarabu, they all male hit.
Correct.
Zarabat, she hit. Zarabata,
Mhm.
female two, both female hit.
Mhm.
Zarabna, all female hit.
Mhm.
Zarabatta,
No, darabta.
Zarabta, you male hit. Zarabtuma, two male hit. Zarabtum, all male hit. Zarabati,
No,
you.
darabti.
Zarabti, Zarabti.
Mhm.
Okay. Zarabti, you female hit. Zarabtuma, two female hit. Zarabtunna, all female hit. Zarabtu, I hit. Zarabna, we hit.
Excellent. Sister Askari.
Yes. Daraba, he hit male. Daraba, they two male hit. Darabu, they all male hit. Darabat, one female hit. Darabata, the two females hit. Darabna, the all females hit.
Correct.
Darabta, you male hit. Darabtuma, you two males hit. Darabtum, you all males hit. Darabti, you female, one single female hit. Darabtuma, you two females hit. Darabtunna, you all females hit. Darabtu, I hit. Darabna, we all hit.
Excellent. Is that clear for everyone?
Yes.
So that's the reason why I wanted to do it. So it's taken us already half an hour. If I had 15 people in the class or 20 people, then it would have taken about 2 hours for us to do. So that's the reason why I allowed it to happen this time. So inshallah, that's it today. This is what I want you to practice. And I'll share this PDF file in the group. So you will see that here, dharaba, all of them have fatha, dharaba. But also in this handout, which I'll share in the group, you will also see that in the past tense, you will also have verbs where it's alima. Alima, the middle letter now has a kasra, but the ending remains exactly the same as kataba. Is that clear for everyone?
Yes.
And then also you have one more, which is kabura. Kabura, in this verb, the middle letter has a dhamma. But the actual part, the ending itself remains the same itself. Is that clear?
Will the first letter always have a fatha as well?
Yes, in the first letter, in the past tense, will have a fatha unless you do the passive. In the passive, if you have a look over here, sister, it has a dhamma.
Okay.
So the present tense you can say the past tense normally comes with a fatha, but if it comes with a dhamma, it's normally passive. Like let me go back. Let me show you. Like futiha. Futiha means it has been open. So we have like in the past tense, there's two tenses. There's passive tense, so active participle tense and passive participle tense. I'll teach you them later, but I don't want to go that as far. But just you need to be familiar that there are three different patterns for the past tense. Either the middle letter has a fatha, or a kasra, or a dhamma itself.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so I just want you to practice as much as you can. And I know that this session is not enough. We need more sessions. So inshallah, next lesson on Wednesday, we will continue from where we left off, and the rest of the group will inshallah participate, and they will catch up as well with us as well, inshallah. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wa ajil farajam. Is that clear for everyone today?
Yes, thank you so much for your time.
Muhtaj dua.
Thank you, Ustad.
Inshallah, fi amanillah, iltimas dua. Inshallah, if you can kindly send the link in the group, that would be much appreciated. I think I've sent it in the chat box.